Dear Princess Sunbutt, the first bundle of letters.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Spike is off doing dragon shit for who knows how long, so I'm making my fuck monkey write this for me. Sorry that you have to deal with his unfamiliar writing style and dashing good looks. I could very easily write my own damn friendship reports, but I get off to treating everyone around me like slaves. Today, I learned that being a cunt makes other people not like you. Apologizing for your cuntish behavior is the first step to fixing whatever relationships you fucked up with said cuntish behavior. True friends will forgive you. Truer friends won't act like cunts in the first place, but I'm too dumb and purple to understand that one. Your failed social experiment, Twinkle Sprinkle.
From HRH Sunbutt, RE Letter 1.
To my most faithful student, Twilight Sparkle, I have received your missive and friendship lesson courtesy of Anon. I'm glad to hear Spike has decided to explore his options as an equestrian citizen, and will ensure I keep in touch with him for you. I admit I am proud for you trying to make Anon feel as though they fit in by giving them meaningful tasks, but perhaps you should make an effort to write me yourself on occasion. I do miss your direct contact from time to time. As per your friendship lesson, that is a very important lesson indeed. We may not always succeed in putting our best hooves forward, but it's important to acknowledge our mistakes and make amends. Your loving mentor, Princess Celestia. P.S. It's nice to see that you're adjusting to your life in Equestria, Anon. I appreciate your razor wit and most estimable and eloquent conveyance of the pleasure of your current position. I know I sometimes feel your own difficulties equally.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 2.
Dear Princess Hotcheeks, today I learned that, and this is gonna sound crazy, but hear me out, lying is bad. I know, it's hard to wrap your head around it, but think about it for a minute. I didn't tell the truth about how stupid her hat looks, so she wore it around town. When people rightfully laughed at her stupid hat, she got offended, and I lied to her again, saying that they were laughing at how ugly I looked, walking next to such a beautiful hat. She believed me because she's as dumb as I am. When she found out the truth, she felt betrayed and didn't want to talk to me anymore, and this is when I realized that not all good friendships are built on lies. Only some. Your wannabe butt slut, Twiggle Pigs.
From HRH Hotcheeks, RE Letter 2.
To my most faithful student, Twilight Sparkle, honesty is one of the elements for a reason, and while it can be sometimes difficult to know when it's alright to withhold one's true views, it is a very important skill. I'm pleased that you're learning. Your loving mentor, Princess Celestia. P.S. I thank you for your most original and well-worded compliments. Once again, your phrasing and vocabulary are at once expressive and to the point. P.P.S. I'm well aware of Twilight's proclivities. I did teach her for years, you know.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 3.
Dear Princess Cake and Bake, today I didn't learn that much because I'm racist as fuck. What I did learn is that Anon is way smarter than I am. Just because he's not a gay midget horse doesn't mean that he's not as smart as one. I still fail to see any racism on my part for thinking that in the first place. All my friends are equally dumb and racist because we didn't give Anon's genius ideas a chance. When we finally gave in, we acted like stuck-up twats about it before being shut the fuck up by the smartest thing in Equestria. Humans are clearly the superior race. Not that I'll ever acknowledge it. Your purplest pony, Purple Pony.
From HRH Cake and Bake, RE Letter 3.
To my most faithful student, Twilight Sparkle, sometimes we can underestimate our friends because of our preconceptions or assumptions we make on first impressions, and ponies often have real difficulties opening themselves up to views to which they are unfamiliar of. I am very proud of you for learning such important and meaningful lessons. Your loving mentor, Princess Celestia. P.S. Why, yes, I rather do enjoy baking from time to time. The pinch of salt really brings out the flavor in most dishes, I find. And in response to your last question, why, yes, I do rather enjoy purple, but only in measured amounts.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 4.
Dear Princess Perfection's older sister, today I did jack shit and blamed all my friends for not having as much free time as me. They had to work because they're not trust fund babies like I am, and I was too busy having all my shit paid for by royalty to notice the plights of those beneath me. Maybe one day I'll develop a natural sense of empathy, but today is not that day. Your royal leech, Twat Spackle.
From HRH Not Luna, RE Letter 4.
To my dear student Twilight Sparkle, I understand schedules can be very frustrating when we wish to spend time with those you care for, and it is very important to be mindful of one's own schedule when considering theirs. I do recall of your fondness for checklists, but perhaps you may find utility out of the enclosed day planner I, myself, have found useful. Your loving mentor, Princess Celestia. Dear Anon, I have sent this letter separately to thank you for the compliment on behalf of my sister. She is not often available during the day, but she does look forward to reading Twilight's reports, and while shocked at first by your particular brand of humor, nonetheless admits that referring to her as perfection must be a sign of good character. That being said, I recommend you take care to not allow my student to see the letters posted. Her humor is very different from ours. Furthermore, I'm becoming concerned about the content of these letters. Precisely how much of this is your particular brand of information sharing? Penned by HRH Celestia.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 5.
Dear Princess White Matriarchy, today I learned that sometimes it really do be like that. Your homegrown bibliophile, Twiddle Fiddle.
From HRH Matriarchy, RE Letter 5.
Dear Anon, it may not be like it do, but it do be like it is sometimes. Seriously though, when I asked my sister about her opinion of what actually happened, she started laughing and merely laughs whenever I press her. I'm becoming concerned. Did my student get into the giggle grass again? Pens by HRH Celestia.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 6.
Dear Princess Smacks-a-Lot, today I learned that yelling at people for having a reasonable difference of opinion is not a good way to make friends. It also does nothing to change their minds. Since I'm unable to defend my blind worship of the Daring Do series and its many, many flaws, I resorted to attacking those who pointed out those flaws. I now realize that when someone criticizes something I like, I shouldn't try to force them to think differently using a combination of science, magic, and questionable ethics. You're unhinged sociopath, Tinky Winky. I couldn't decide between that and Snacks-a-Lot. Point is, you got the fattest ass. Love, Anon.
From HRH Smacks-a-Thought, RE Letter 6.
To my most faithful student, Twilight Sparkle, it is always difficult to make our views understood and yet also understand the views of others when they differ from our own greatly. Sometimes, a differing of opinion isn't easily overcome, and a mediator is needed. I am pleased that you have learned this important lesson in communication and friendship, and I believe it will serve you well. That being said, I admit concern and hope that you are not employing some of your more theoretical magical lessons in effort to prove a point in an argument. Your loving mentor, Princess Celestia. P.S. Thank you, Anon, for your most recent suggestion. I do believe I will take it into very real consideration when next time we meet. Or perhaps before. I will also have you know that I simply enjoy a pastry or two after a long day.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 7.
Dear Princess Sallybelly, today I learned that hiding from your problems doesn't solve them. It only makes them worse. You would think I would have learned this from my parents or maybe some other prominent authority figure in my childhood, and you would also think I would be smart enough to know that zombies just don't disappear if you pretend that you didn't create them. Go figure. You're apparently a necromancer now. Titty Spittle. I realized that saying you have the fattest ass last time could have been taken as an insult. Believe you me, that couldn't be further from the truth. Your ass is the second best in the business. Love, Anon.
From HRH Sallybelly, RE Letter 7.
Dear Twilight Sparkle. What? Love, Princess Celestia. Dear Anon. No, seriously. What? What? Twilight couldn't... She shouldn't have been able... Okay. I take all accusations of necromancy seriously and will be instructing local agents of the Crown to report it immediately. If the problem reoccurs, please slip the pink package of sweetener into Twilight's tea or coffee, dependent upon the time of day, and instruct the post office of code bone meal. Further instructions will be given. Pens by HRH Celestia.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 8.
Dear Princess Bootybutt, today I avoided all repercussions for my actions by mentioning my status as the student of the princess. I'm pretending that I learned something about personal responsibility, but in reality, the opposite happens. The only thing I learned is that you can get away with pretty much anything, up to and including kidnapping, if you know the right people. Your future serial murderer, Twitchy Squiggle. She actually said, the princess. Her words, not mine. It makes me feel bad for Luna and the lack of respect that she gets. Tell her she's my favorite for me. Love, Anon.
From HRH Bootybutt, RE Letter 8.
To my most faithful student, Twilight Sparkle. Responsibility is a very important thing, and sometimes it is easy to overlook or misunderstand one's personal responsibilities, and I am pleased that you have learned an important lesson. I thank you as always for the letter, and I admit curiosity about the incident in question. Perhaps you would be willing to discuss it with me over some tea sometime this weekend? A little bit of time has opened up in my schedule. Your loving mentor, Princess Celestia. Dear Anon, I am seriously beginning to grow concerned with things in Ponyville, and your dictation indicating things that are not improving for you personally. That said, I thank you somewhat belatedly for the clarification, but my mind was on things a bit more important, and only recently did I reread your postscripts. Further, your irreverence is both refreshing and infuriating. As such, I have taken the liberty to arrange such that your next shipment of preferred coffee will be unavailable in Ponyville for at least 2 weeks, out of concern of possible tampering. On to other matters, I am also very concerned with Twilight's implied attitude, though I suppose I can't blame her for referring to the diarchy as such, given that my sister has been away. I hope to gauge and perhaps rectify some of these issues this weekend. Penned by HRH Celestia. P.S. Luna says hello.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 9.
Dear Princess Caligula, today I didn't learn for the second time to not be such a huge racist. I'm alone in my racism because all my friends learned their lesson for the first time. Not me though. Not Twilight, fuck anything, that's not a pony. Sparkle. A group of griffins were passing by through the town, minding their own business, and I apparently knew a dickish griffin named Gilda in the past, so you just know that I had to start some shit. These new griffins were confused when I yelled at them, so I started yelling louder to prove that they were bad. More stuff happens, blah 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 blah, friendship and now the griffins and I are okay despite my rampant racism. Your pony supremacist, Sparkass. It's a human reference, so you probably won't get it, but I thought it was funny, and isn't that what really matters? Love, Anon.
From HRH Caligula, RE Letter 9.
To my most faithful student, Twilight Sparkle. I'm glad to hear that you learned such an important lesson in allowing one's preconceptions to color their view of others that they have not yet met. I am also pleased that you have managed to make amends for those erroneous preconceptions and have made new and interesting friends with unique insights and backgrounds. Perhaps you would like to visit for tea another time soon? Your loving mentor, Princess Celestia. Dear Anon, I do not understand that reference, but I am left imagining it to be rather insulting. I may or may not have deserved that in response for forcing the off-brand tea on you, admittedly, and Luna has been rather harsh on the idea. Still, I'm glad that you're finding amusements. Meanwhile, I need to go make sure that my student didn't insult any being important. Penned by HRH Celestia.
Dear Princess Sunbutt, Letter 10.
Dear Princess Celestia, Twilight's out of town for a book convention, so I'm free for the day, and I know we had our differences, but I'd like to ask you a personal favor. I'm kind of in the mood to watch a cheesy movie with a pretty mare, and since princesses make their own free time, I was thinking you could ask Luna if she's interested. Love, Anon.
From Tia, RE Letter 10.
Dear Anon, my sister and I are not to be called on to satisfy your boredom. That being said, this counts as a diplomatic meeting and gets me out of listening to Blueblood all day. We'll both be there. Oh, and Luna says that while your dreams are flattering, she doubts that you are well endowed. She's not currently seeking a suitor at this time, but hopes to become friends. See you shortly, Celestia.